Welcome to Tucson, Arizona for the men's quarterfinals as Andy Nett is going up against Sean Lenning. My name is Dave Vincent. This is the R48 Pro WPH stop number 2 in Tucson, Arizona, following up the U.S. Open where Paul Brady defeated Charlie Shanks. We will not see another visit to the finals by Charlie Shanks because he was just defeated by Emmett Peixoto, who will now be in the semifinals. And as far as we know, this is the first time from at least 2009 that Emmett made the semis, probably 2010. But with having that shoulder problem, Dave, it's really held Emmett back after having the shoulder surgery, but he's certainly played inspired ball and defeated Charlie Shanks just a few minutes ago. Now we have Andy Nett from Minnesota up against Sean Lenning from Shoreline, Washington. Charlie Shanks will be reffing this match.
Andy to serve.
Well, Dave, Emmett looked about as good as we've seen him maybe ever. Certainly we've seen Emmett at his best in 2008 at times, but Emmett just amazing tonight. And now it's another huge matchup, Dave, followed by another huge matchup. But Andy Nett, who I believe now has taken the crown as best server in the world, particularly down the right. And Dave, Sean Lenning is one of the quickest guys on the tour. He didn't even move for the first serve, and he knew it was going to the right. That's how fast it was. Now Andy with a quick 2-0 lead here.
Well, Sean told me earlier, how am I going to get these serves back?
Dave, Sean is not hitting the ball clean right now. He told me he hasn't played at all since the U.S. Open, where he worked his way into pretty good form against Paul Brady, but doesn't really have the luxury of dropping a first game here like he did against Paul and coming back. He'll have to start a lot faster than he did. That was almost a side out. And you can see what I mean, Dave, about Sean just not hitting the ball clean thus far.
Andy Nett has never defeated Sean Lenning. But this is different. It's a one-game match to 25. Sean says, I feel just uneasy now.
Hand off.
Now, you know,
return
Dave,
a serve right there.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Andy has a lot of experience playing these 25-point games. He's had to qualify. He's also played in a number of playoff matches where the games are to 25. So this is probably at least his 10th match to 25.
Together 2.
Sean is playing in his first ever match to 25. Believe it or not, that means that Sean Lenning has been in at least the semifinals of every race stop he's ever played. And Dave, I have a little trivia question for you.
Which I will get wrong.
You can answer it at the first time out, or you can answer it whenever you're ready. Who are the only 2 players to have played in every pro stop, either WPH or USHA, in the last 4 years? There's only 2.
2 plays 3.
I'll give you 1 right now.
Okay.
Because I just know this one for a fact.
Okay.
Short.
You.
Okay. That's correct.
Second serve.
And then we'll just let this marinate just a little bit for that second one.
And this means, Dave, not playing in the qualifier, but you had to actually be in the main draw. So if you qualify, that would count. But this is the Cal Ripken streak right now in handball, the current Cal Ripken streak.
Okay, after this develops, I'm just going to ask you one question. Can you repeat the question one more time for those at home?
Who are the only 2 players since 2008 to have played in every pro stop, either WPH or USHA, up until now?
Short.
You've named 1.
Well, I'm going to go with Sean Lenning and you.
Correct.
Wow.
Your prize is?
Nothing.
Well, no, actually it's not. It's a
hand off.
Very unappreciative house guest tonight that will be kicking your kids out of their room so he can get a good night's sleep, and that house guest will be none other than yours truly.
Okay.
Second serve.
So congratulations.
You're going to sleep on the couch tonight.
Sometimes when you win, you lose.
This could be a big setup for Andy Nett, who powers it, but Sean's able to flip the ball back, unable to get it to the front wall, and now is side out. Nett wearing the...
Is that a hand off? Yeah. Is that hand off? Yeah. Hand off. 3-all.
The red shirt here. Referee just double checking.
Well, this is the shirt, Dave, that Andy wore to win the world championship. He said this shirt gives him power.
Okay, second serve.
And believe it or not, Dave, it looks like Andy Nett is hitting the ball harder than Sean Lenning right now.
You can tell that Andy Nett has arrived in that sort of elite status because he hasn't said one hello, he hasn't signed one autograph. He just stays at the hotel, ices, and then just comes to the club in the limo. Wow, Sean Lenning with that little underhand poke. And if Sean gets going here, this crowd's going to get behind him. They love him in Tucson.
Well, Sean is
short.
Looks like he's pacing himself, Dave. He's going at about 60% right now.
Second serve.
I think you and I both, talking off the microphones, believe that he would just try and keep this close until
do you want me to call
the late stages of the teens, where maybe it's 18, 16, and then maybe try and turn it up from there. I don't know if he has enough confidence in his fitness to push himself for this entire match.
Hand off. 4 plays 3.
Nice get right there from Sean. Sean openly admits that he doesn't feel completely comfortable playing a player that can hit the ball harder than him. He said, my hands don't move that good, but I actually disagree. I think he's got some of the best hands in handball.
Well, I agree with you. I talked a little bit about Nikolai Nahorniak having such a long windup that it really hurts him against power players, but Sean Lenning has such a short windup that the power shouldn't bother him, and it usually doesn't. Although we have seen Sean struggle a lot against Luis Moreno, who is probably the hardest hitter on our tour.
Point.
Shot for shot. Now, maybe not the most powerful shot like Andy has on the serve, but I think overall, Luis is probably the hardest hitter.
Point.
Now Andy's just scoring points here.
6 plays 3.
This is exactly what Lenning was talking about when he had that
short
convo with me about how hard this serve is to get back.
Second serve. Check the ball.
No reaction from Andy, but you know that.
Score 6-3.
Smarted.
That ball really does sting.
Point.
I took one in the back of the leg, and it felt like my leg went into a spasm. It was so hard.
Sean Lenning skips that ball in, and now he's calling a timeout.
Sean scores 8-3.
Score here is 8-3. It's a 1-game match to 25 for the quarterfinals, and then on the semis it'll be 2-15, tiebreaker to 11. Sean Lenning, of course, just like everybody else that plays Andy Nett, really concerned about that serve to the right. Andy sort of mastered it. He has a wrinkle that will check up into the wall, but he also will come back and try to slide it down the wall, and that's what makes it so hard. And you know, these guys are just, I guess the power on film doesn't look as much as it is in person. Dave, what is it like to be back there trying to get his serve back?
Well, it's really unbelievable. It's hard to really describe it. I played Robert Sastry one time in a hands against the paddle match, and he was probably hitting the ball at about 130 miles per hour. That's the only time I've ever seen the ball move faster, but of course with the paddle, the ball wasn't hopping. Andy's hitting at about 85, 90 miles per hour with a lot of hop. It's truly remarkable. If you have a chance, you have to come out and watch him sit courtside to really get a feel for it, right on the floor level. Almost like Dave sitting behind home plate when Justin Verlander is pitching. You hear that pop when it hits the catcher's glove. It's the same kind of feeling you get. And there's the pre-dive, Dave, and an absolutely phenomenal shot from the Minnesota Dreamboat, down to one knee, sliding, almost like a clay court tennis player, Dave, sliding into a volley.
Point.
And Dave, the only time I've ever seen Sean Lenning look this out of sorts was against Robbie McCarthy at the 2011 U.S. Open. I've never seen Sean just look completely overmatched to the point where he doesn't seem like he thinks he can win. And you got that impression as soon as he saw the draw.
Short. Second serve.
It's incredible, Dave, watching the transformation from Andy Nett. The first time I remember seeing him, Dave, at a pro stop was in 2008 at the first Jake Plummer event. And Dave Chapman beat him 21-1, 21-1 with his loafers on. Luis Moreno beat him just as badly at the next stop. And then gradually, Dave, he just kept getting a little bit better with each tournament. And now he's a guy that these top players don't want to have anything to do with.
Yeah.
Truly remarkable.
Well, that's just over a year span here. People actually wanted to get Andy Nett in the draw. And you saw with some of those blind draws when
4 plays
qualifier
10.
would get Nett, they'd do a fist pump right in his face out in the lobby, and you're like, is he that bad?
Point.
And then all of a sudden, these guys are getting Andy, and they don't want to have any
5
part
plays
of him.
10.
And I think going to the World Championships,
Shot.
winning that title with Luis Moreno has put him another 25% better than he already was at that.
Yeah.
He's confident now.
Yeah. Well, when you know that you can take out the best player in the world and dominate him and his partner, who really had been unbeatable, that confidence and playing in that atmosphere prepares you for anything. I mean, he's playing in front of a sold-out crowd here, but there's only about 150 people that can watch behind this glass wall. He's played in front of 4,000 people cheering against him and come out on top.
10 plays 6. Hand off. 6-10.
This is a dangerous part of this match for Andy, as Sean is very capable of getting onto a huge roll.
Terrible bad bounce for Andy Nett, and that is a point for Sean Lenning.
Is there any way, Dave, since we do play a huge pro event here every year, that the WPH would come in and take care of this court? Because I know you can't see it on camera, but there's so many bad bounces in this court. I mean, off the back wall, off the ceiling. It almost, and not almost, Dave, but it actually detracts from the play, because literally there's 10 or 11 lucky shots from both guys, and you know, you say it evens out, but doesn't necessarily even out in a one-game match of 25.
Yeah, last year we actually had a proposal to replace that whole back wall glass, trying to get quotes on it, work on syncing up the back wall door, which sounds dead, which makes the ball seem like it's also dead. And certainly it is something that we're looking into, also putting a front wall camera hole into this court right here. This is not a premier facility in a lot of ways, but it also in some other aspects, it's so perfect on the first 3 walls that you see that it, you know, there's not a lot of bad bounces there, but when it gets to the back wall on almost every court in this facility, it becomes strange. The reason why the bad bounce rule, one of the reasons why, is because in other tournaments that we've held here, there could be 20 to 30 bad bounce stoppages during a typical match that it just becomes out of control. You see guys diving and putting their life on the line for certain shots, all to end on a bad bounce on the back wall. That probably could have been played through, because at the top level, the players are able to make the adjustments. Now that one was so obvious, and it's just unfortunate for Andy Nett.
Well, I agree with not playing the bad bounces and playing everything out. I just wish there were less of them.
Yeah, and just replacing the back wall, it's quite expensive because it's a glass, but I do believe they will and are going to try to quote on putting something brand new back there.
Has the WPH, Dave, considered building a super facility?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would be in Tucson?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, the support here is tremendous.
Look at that shot right there.
Hand off.
As Andy just pokes that ball in the left corner. Good play from Andy, blocking Sean at the same time he hit that ball.
Credit to the referee there for letting the play continue. You see a lot of referees stop the play too soon there.
Well, those refs are not here at this tournament, Dave.
Oh.
I
guess I'm playing in a different tournament. Amazing shot from Andy. That's one of the hardest shots in the sport.
11-8.
Oh.
Point.
I mean, Dave, there's just nothing you can say. That's just one of the most phenomenal shots that you could ever see, maybe that you will ever see.
Well, the big thing is, you know, as Sean was talking about how good Andy Nett's serve was, I said you just have to keep him out of the server's box. I mean, that's...
Have you considered being a professional coach?
Backswing.
A
With
life
advice
coach,
like that? Oh, a life.
Replay. He thought you were going to move in, take it quicker.
Sorry. What?
12 plays.
No, I concluded that thought.
Okay, all right.
I think we've established that you would be either a great life coach or a great handball coach, maybe both.
Point.
Maybe you work in 2 capacities.
A great coach at a fat farm, but not the type that actually helps people lose weight. I'm talking about really a farm of fat people.
So this is a fat farm where you're actually trying to make people fatter.
Well, not make them, just help them.
Help them.
I don't want to make anybody do anything.
Right. Well, that's pretty obvious watching your staff here work. Coming in about 2.5 hours late. I mean, you don't want to make them come in on time.
Gravy does that. There it is. Sean knew it was broken right before that, too, and if he would have forced that break, it could have saved him from losing that point. And he knew it. He looked at the ball and inspected it, but he knows the rules. You can't throw the ball or try to break it, and so Sean gets the short end of the stick. If this comes down to a 1-2 point loss, we'll remember this moment in time. You see a lot of people complain about having a broken ball. I believe it's the opposite of that, sort of the Roy Hobbs type thing, Dave, where
you have my attention now.
Okay, because I like to talk.
Let me put everything down that I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you're in the middle of painting your nails, but you know the Roy Hobbs.
It's actually just polishing, but that's okay.
Polishing, painting.
They're actually two different things.
Well, when Roy Hobbs hit that home run off of Bucky there in Detroit, you know the strings came off, the cover came off, and it started raining.
Yeah,
of course. Now, lightning struck the lights and went all over the place. But they were trying to get the ball, and you know that was a coveted thing. That was it was in the newspapers the next day, and I mean, of course, Robert Duvall's character was trying to, you know, find out the real story.
In Pittsburgh, we call that a neb.
Okay,
that's called being nebby.
Well,
short for nebulous, but in Pittsburgh, it's just nebby or a neb.
Well, nonetheless, it's a heralded thing back in Roy Hobbs' day.
Okay.
Character that Robert Redford played in the movie The Natural. Now Sean Lenning cranking it up a little bit here.
That's the first ball we've really seen Sean crank up.
That's actually sound like he's hitting that with a paddle.
Well, this is what Sean does. He'll cruise for about half a game, and then all of a sudden, it's like, who is this guy? I mean, you know, you're hitting it 25 miles per hour harder now,
10-13,
and about 7 inches lower. And Dave, when Sean goes into clampdown mode, it's terrifying.
Replay. I thought it was going to give you advantage off the
You
back
almost, Dave, don't want to make Sean mad at all by getting too big of a lead or doing anything that might incite him, because once he's mad, he's going to make sure that you can never end a rally.
Well, you know, he's lived in Tucson off and on now for the last couple years, and when I played him, I tried that stance of let's keep him, let's have loose and have fun, and that works against you because he's more comfortable.
Okay.
And he starts making the most ridiculous shots that way, where we're both joking around. Then I try to get him mad, and that is a complete wreck.
Okay.
So you can't do the two polar opposites of let's try to be his friend and let's try to be, because the friend Sean Lenning is just the most unbelievable Sean Lenning you've ever seen on the freakish soft paddles shots, but the mad one does the hard version of that.
That's just unbelievable.
Those sort of strange shots.
I think you throw a little bit of a fit of your own and entertain him. And then he's not mad and he's not too relaxed. He's just kind of, oh, that's pretty funny. And then he forgets what he's doing. It'll score you a few points.
Well, that was a nice little comeback right there. He found himself down 13-8. Now ties the score here at 13 is Sean Lenning, who is liked by the crowd locally, but Andy Nett is respected all around the world, especially in Winona, Minnesota, or Eden Prairie, Minnesota, where he's currently at. His future wife, Bailey Chandler.
Well, now let's not jump to conclusions here.
Well, I'm calling the shot.
I think we'd all like to see that happen, but that has not yet happened. So let's not.
When it does, she's presumably, when it does, she's back home watching her future husband.
I certainly hope it happens. Don't get me wrong. I want it to happen tomorrow, actually.
Okay. Well, she's there. He's here. Okay. I don't know if it could.
Have a person ever been married on the phone before, Dave?
Yes.
Oh. Didn't know that.
I got married over Twitter.
Okay, well, Sean the serve, scores 13-all.
You were going to say you were married on Pinterest.
Nope. Tried to do Yelp. Couldn't log in, lost my password. Had to go to the Twitter account. I tweeted, I do.
Handoff.
Dave, I think the crowd and also the players get so much adrenaline in these close one-game matches to 25, and you really start to feel your heart beating, especially as both you and your opponent are in the 20s. There's really nothing like that except maybe deep into a tiebreaker, but the chances of going deep into a tiebreaker are very slim. You might have two very close games that don't go to a tiebreaker. You may split 2 games, and then the tiebreaker ends up not being that close. I think this way, Dave, produces the most dramatic games the majority of the time.
This could be a big setup for Andy. And he just blows that ball past Sean Lenning, who was coming in. That's the difference
14,
between
13.
Andy and a lot of other players will go to maybe a soft corner kill. Andy just blows it straight front and back. That was good, I think. I saw that just over the line.
Second serve.
No argument from the Dreamboat.
Nice shot there from Andy. Makes the adjustment. Now he's got a chance to win the rally. And these are shots, Dave, I've never seen Andy hit before. I think he's picking up these one-wall drive overhand shots from three-wall where he's been so successful the last couple of years, and it's improved his game. And that's what makes being an all-around player so beneficial, is that you pick up new shots that you can use in the four-wall court. And vice versa, you can use your four-wall shots in the three-wall court.
Well, I believe that with those overhand top-powered shots that Andy has in the middle going side to side would make him an excellent one-wall player, and especially with that serve.
Yeah. You know, you hear a lot of people say, well, you can't win with just a serve, but I don't think they've ever seen a serve like this. And also, he's got a lot more than just a serve. He's got two great hands, power in the rally with both hands, and gettability that's really second to none. I mean, a guy like Chip Morales or John Iglesias has to take 4 steps to cover as much ground as Andy does by just reaching his arm out. He's very long, and he's flexible. He can get down low.
This is the R48 Pro stop here in Tucson, Arizona. The TRC. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink. As we do this quarterfinal match, it is halftime. 3-minute breaks. Sean Lenning trying to get something going here. Sort of felt like he had it going, but Andy played pretty strong and goes into the half with a 15-13 lead. The winner will be in the semifinals to play, well, you, Dave. Hopefully your attitude improves when you play in the semis tomorrow.
So that was the cold shoulder that I got.
Didn't like your attitude much, although in a strange way, I also think it should be more entertaining. So I'm kind of conflicting with myself and actually fighting with myself right now as I talk.
You know, it's funny, my dad goes through the same thing. When I used to play and really flip out, he would just do everything, beg with me, punish me, whatever, to get me to stop. And then when I retired for 9 years, he used to beg me to come back and play and throw tantrums because he said it was just so boring.
Yeah.
So, and then, but when I do it, he won't talk to me either, actually, for a couple weeks. So it's really what you call a catch-22, I believe.
The score is 13-15.
Yeah, it's kind of a love to hate it sort of thing. 13-15, Sean Lenning serving.
Well, it's the reason that there's so much traffic around an accident. It's a train wreck that you can't take your eyes off. Let's be honest.
Point.
Referee letting these two play through here. Charlie Shank's doing a pretty darn good job reffing this match.
I agree.
14-15.
He might be our new referee.
And Dave, who even thinks to hit that shot
But
there?
he hits it with power.
And it's not a setup. And Andy had the lane there, and he didn't put the ball away.
Sounds like the ball's broken, Dave. I know you hate when I say that, but these guys are just pounding the ball.
I love that pre-shot position. Sorry to interrupt you there, Dave, but Andy had a very easy shot, but he made sure to give himself enough space to be able to drive the ball down the wall, which he did.
Short.
Andy hits the ball so hard that it skips. I believe that the ball gets kind of prolonged after hitting the front wall. When it hits the ground, it kind of rebounds really quick as it gathers all of the air back.
And another great point, great rally, and very well called by a referee who could have stopped the play there, but shouldn't have and didn't.
Do you think that maybe Sean Lenning could take the approach of hitting a ball to the ceiling? Andy's off the back wall ceiling game is not up there with some of the top elite players. And Andy wants to ground and pound as much as possible. Sean's not even trying to go up above. These guys are hitting everything below the 4-foot mark, unless it's a kind of a defensive wrap.
It was, no, I'm not giving you a screen for that. 17.
It looks to me, Dave, like Sean Lenning's moving forward pretty well, but he's not changing directions at all. And I haven't even seen him attempt to change directions on a number of pass shots that I would normally see him get.
Nice shot right there from Sean Lenning. See how he inside outs that ball, Dave, and keeps it on that wall?
14-17.
Really not easy to do.
Short.
Well, Dave, it's incredible. This is exactly what we thought might happen here in this match. Andy Nett having a lead kind of midway late in this first game where Sean Lenning would really then turn it on. And this is where Andy, Dave, will have to step up his game.
That's the second broken ball. I thought it was broke a while back.
You know, Dave, you say that, well, Andy's already leading 17-14. He's doing what he needs to do, but Sean Lenning is going to take his game to another level. Andy Nett is going to have to also go to another level. Andy Nett will not be able to close out this game playing how he's played thus far. He's played very well. He's going to have to take that very well and go to almost perfect handball if he wants to close out this game. That's my prediction.
I believe Sean Lenning will also do what you said because he does that in every match, but I think that what Andy Nett's doing right now is disruptive enough that I think he can steadily get to the 25 mark unless Sean
Ready to go.
Goes on a real quick run like he normally does.
14-17.
Wow. You see that bender that Sean just put on that ball?
Well, Dave, I don't think Andy Nett's serve has been as good since halftime as it was before halftime.
Short.
Doesn't seem to have quite the velocity to it.
Sean Lenning's cranking this
second serve.
Hook serve right here.
I think Sean will go with the deep 2-all crack serve here. I don't even know what he was trying to hit there, Dave. Was that an attempted hop down the middle?
At about dead center, hopping it over to the left wall.
Maybe Sean will go side wall there.
And then Sean gets right back into the service box, completely happy with himself.
15-17.
At 15-17 here because he was able to get out of that crazy serve from Nett. Now it's 16-17.
And Dave, I think we've officially watched too much handball. Now, we predicted this match literally point for point.
I said before the match started it would be 13-18 with Sean trailing and coming back tying the score at 18.
Second serve.
Here it was 13-17.
That's actually true. You did say that.
Everything I say is true. You don't have to verify that.
Point.
And here it was 13-17. He came back and now has tied it at 17. So I was off by one, and I actually
together
two
at
if you calculate both of their points.
I believe when you're making those kind of predictions, if you're even within three, you've nailed it.
Well, I nailed
17
this.
all.
Okay. 17 all now. With my overall final score was 25-19, and I won't tell you now who I said who was going to win.
And Dave, talking to Alan Garner during the Emmett Peugeot match, he said, you've got to hit a pass shot about 6 inches high to keep it off the back wall and win a point. If you're trying to hit pass shots 4 or 5 feet high, that's way off the back wall, Dave, and a huge setup for your opponent.
Yeah, but these guys are all trying to hit it too hard, Dave. What about that little low-level pass that pushes back, that double bounces the back wall with control?
Well, I think that's a good shot, and that's amazing.
Are you serious?
I think that's a good shot to set up the next shot, but if you're actually trying to win the point, you've got to pass with about a 4-inch high pass.
Well, that's why I think Sean has the advantage in that sense because he's a stand-up player who hits down on the ball. We're together here at 18.
Short.
But Sean stands very erect, and he hits down, so I believe that he has a different sort of angle on the ball when he hits it. A lot of the other guys get down low, and they're going underneath it, and that pass shot will hit a side wall and pop up, especially if it hits the back wall. Now Andy's feeling the pressure with Sean Lenning leading for the first time in quite some time.
19-18.
And Sean overcranks that.
Wow. That's going to make it. Oh, that one almost made it.
Point.
Now at 20-18 is Lenning. And Dave, like I said, at 17-14 with Andy Nett leading, he'd have to take his game to another level. He hasn't. He's not playing badly, but you need to go into overdrive.
Point. There's going to be a timeout soon.
Timeout, Andy. Last timeout.
There it is. Well,
Scores
and you predicted that right, Dave, and I even heard it.
Yeah.
It was less than 5 minutes ago, and you see the round of applause here from the crowd. Next match starts at 7 o'clock here, Mountain Time. That's 6 Pacific. Please tell your friends to tune in and watch this live broadcast at racefor8.com because it's going to be a barn burner. I can tell you one thing about Luis Moreno as he goes up against Alan Garner in the next match. I have not seen him. I live in Tucson. We know what everybody does here.
Yeah.
through Foursquare and Facebook and Twitter.
And also, I believe you have private
texting
cameras
and all that
set
stuff
up at virtually every pro's home.
Did not see him one time.
Yeah.
Did not even hear of him playing one time since the U.S. Open.
Well, Luis told me point blank, I haven't done anything since the U.S. Open. I haven't worked out, haven't hit a handball. You know, the first ball he hit was this morning against Shorty, and he'll be playing just for the second time in 2 weeks. And you know, Dave, Luis isn't the kind of guy that'll talk about it, but he's got a hip problem with his left hip that he hurt in Ireland. And, you know, you won't hear him talk about that.
Okay, scores 21-18.
Well, that's what he have you for. 21-18.
Well, I give the intel that players don't want me to reveal.
Overhit from Andy.
But actually, Dave, the injury report's a very important thing in sports, so just doing my job.
Sean's bouncing all over the floor here.
It's 21-18.
Look at that shot right there from Sean. He was talking about Andy Nett's serve.
22-18.
This could be a huge setup for Sean. Watch what he does. Wow, that was a screen, no call from the ref.
That one. He got his handed, Sean, and it passed right by you.
I've seen a lot of plays very similar to that where a screen wasn't called and neither player asked for it. That time Andy asked for it and gets it.
Short.
Well, I thought it was weird that the referee said to Sean, I'm sorry.
Second serve.
Like apologizing to Sean. I don't know why you'd apologize. It was a clear screen. Sean should be apologizing to his fans for missing his kill shot.
And he breaks over the top of, on the outside and over the top of that ball, which I believe, Dave, is the best shot to hit. Chapman invented that shot, is from what I knew, going with his right hand and going straight back down the right wall with a reverse, cupping the outside of the ball. But, Dave, it's now Sean Lenning who's scored,
short.
Excuse me, Dave, 8 of the last 9 points at the most crucial stage here in this match.
Oh, and Sean just misses it. Andy Nett scores his 19th point.
You know, Dave, as a server, you give your opponent that kind of serve and they skip it, but you're afraid to hit it again because they've had such a good swing on it that you're thinking to yourself, well, he had a great look at that. He's not going to miss it again, but yet you did win the point with it. So do you go back to it?
Or
no? Absolutely not.
I agree with you.
Get away from it, especially if you feel that they had a good look at it.
Right.
Short.
Andy might appeal, but that was short. I say you get off of it.
Okay. It's all about the swing that they take. If they look like they have a comfortable swing, even if they miss it, it's probably not a serve you want to go back to. You want to force your opponent to go into that scoop mode where they're just...
Boy, look at this play here. Andy is a good artist. And Sean gets it in the corner.
And you don't see Sean use the corner a lot on the back wall, but he used it there at the perfect time.
Well, he saw Andy was behind him to the right.
Short.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No complaint from Sean Lenning.
Second serve.
I don't recall Sean Lenning and Andy even playing very much handball against each other. And Sean yet was talking to me about, I don't want to go up against this guy's serve. So that shows that Sean has watched a lot of handball.
And Sean somehow returns that, Dave. I don't believe there's many players in the world that could have returned that serve, and then he ends up winning the rally.
I didn't see a screen there, Andy.
I agree with the call here from the referee. Sean hopped it away. Andy was out of position. I don't see a screen at all.
I agree with you, Dave, and the ref.
It's a handoff.
Sean hit his ball, the follow through. Andy was in the wrong spot, and then it just reversed way away from Andy.
22-19.
As I would say, if I was in the court here at 22-19, if I was not in your way, that would have made you look worse.
I'll give a point for that one.
Uh-oh.
A lot of contact there, but the referee determining that that ball was down and away from Andy. Might take a quick instant replay of that, Dave. Your son is in the court now. Or, excuse me, Dave, that's Ivan. I thought that was Carlos.
So you're stereotyping my kids?
Well, they're about the same height, actually.
I thought it was down. I thought it stayed like...
Let's take a look at that if we can.
But referee can give a point to Sean here, which it didn't seem like that should happen. Contact was way before that second bounce. One.
Oh, wow. I think Andy can get to that ball, Dave.
3-19.
That's a tough one to call because Andy has that pre-dive with the backhanded flip. As we go back into live action here, short ball, Sean Lenning serving. But no arguing really from Andy. I believe clearly he'd be able to pop that ball back to the front wall.
Well, for Andy to look at the referee is a huge argument.
Somehow Andy gets that back. He does a pre-dive, gets it back with a flip of the wrist. Sean goes with a two-wall pass. Andy gets it back. And unbelievable play here from Andy Nett. Now Sean Lenning serving to go into the semifinals. And also the predicted score that I gave of 25-19.
I predicted 25-21, so I will have to throw away all my stuff because when you're wrong,
that's what you do.
Yeah,
that includes your computer, by the way. I'm gonna go take that to the garbage can if you don't mind.
No, I don't. That's what I deserve. Actually, I already had my stuff thrown in the garbage today. I was told I could use the dryer, only to find out that
okay, scores 24-19, game ball.
Sean Lenning got it right there, and he is advancing to the semifinals with the best serve of the match. Sean Lenning wins 25-19, and he takes down Andy Nett here as they both give each other a little hug there at the very end. Tucson, Arizona for the R48 Pro stop number 2 and race season number 2 as well. We have the next match coming up right around the corner, which will be Luis Moreno versus Alan Garner. Tomorrow morning, it will be Dave Fink up against Sean Lenning at 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 11 Pacific. That will be 7 p.m. in Ireland and 2 o'clock on the East Coast. That's if you have power on the East Coast, of course. And then Emmett Peugeot will be up against the winner of the next match, which is Moreno and Garner. We'll be back in just a bit. Stick around for Fink, as well as Garad and Manning. My name is Vincent. You just take about 10 minutes off. We'll be here at racerate.com right around the corner.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it goes.
Oh, no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
You like it?
All right.
They might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
At Shelters, You'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.